Good evening, Divisions. Again, this is Amelita Clemenya, and I want to share you guys kung ano talaga ang nangyayari sa panahon ngayon. Okay, para maintindihan nyo kung bakit may shutdown, bakit may lockdown. Nandito na po tayo sa Revelation something, I don't know what's the verse of this, basta ito po yung laman niya. For 1,000 years are ended, Satan will be released from his prison and will come out to deceive the nations that are at four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them for battle. Their number is like the sand of the sea, and they march up over the broad plain of the earth and surrounded the camp of the saints and the beloved city. So, itong beloved city is yung Vatican. So, ibabasa ko yun mamaya para maintindihan nyo. But fire came down from heaven and consumed them, and the devil who had deceived them was thrown into the lake of fire and sulfur, where the beast and the false prophet were, and they will be tormented day and night forever and ever. So, sa sunod ko palagi sa Maharlikans, nandito po yung mga update nila sa GCR as of March 20, Global Currency Reset. So, mahaba kasi ito kaya yung importante lang yung kinukunan ko ng record. So, pakinggan nyo na lang ng mabuti kung ano yung latest sa panahon na nangyayari ngayon.
Restored Republic via GCR, update as of March. 2 minutes ago. March 20th, 2021, 28. Restored Republic via GCR, update as of March 20th, 2020. Warning, Jenny gave a graphic description of being raped, tortured, and forced to view a child sacrifice at the tender age of 5, not unlike sordid experiences of thousands of other child victims of satanic worshippers. Such perpetrator followers of Satan were organized from the U.S. Inc., CIA, Queen Elizabeth, Vatican's Ninth Circle child sacrifice cult on down to local teenage covens. They appeared funded by this same cabal that ran our global monetary system, the very organization that was in the process of being brought down by activation of the global currency reset. It's no wonder that President Trump has stated, "These people are sick." Divide they try, fail they will. WWG1WGA to support POTUS, follow Q and trust plan. Judy notes sources appeared to indicate that the Tier 4B Internet group, US, would be notified for appointments by Sat or Sun. 21, the 22nd of March, with appointments beginning on Mon or Tuesday. 23, the 24th of March. President Trump has implemented the Stafford Act martial law, and there was a probability of a national lockdown with military in place beginning Friday, the 20th of March, with all non-essential businesses including airlines closed for 30 days. Q has indicated that there would be 10 days of darkness while they did mass arrests. That was now believed to begin on Friar Sat. 20, the 21st of March and go to Tuesday 31 of March, the same 10 days that the Internet group was expecting to be exchanging, redeeming. The 10 days of darkness suggested that we would be under martial law while a cultural, economic, and political reset took place. The darkness indicated disruption of the Internet and perhaps TV and radio in order for mass arrests to take place while military personnel assured our safety in the streets. Yesterday, the 18th of March at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we went to level 4 of martial law. To give banks adequate time to connect to the quantum financial system, all banks would be closed for 4 days starting on Friday the 20th of March and reopen on Tuesday, the 24th of March. On Friday, the 20th of March, the stock market would also close until Tuesday, the 24th of March. A source out of the military, have your 2-week supply of food ready in case we go to martial law tonight, Thursday, the 19th of March. Mon. The 23rd of March, bankers who, because of the stock market crash, were ordered not to service loans on cars and houses would now be free to do such, it was suspected, because by Monday they would be working with a gold-backed dollar. Would the gold standard be announced? Wall Street, which stopped trading in person because of the stock market crash on Friday. The 13th of March, planned to start trading electronically on Tuesday. The 24th of March. Several sources were saying that the liquidity release would take place on that same Tuesday. The 24th of March. Tuesday. The 31st of March was the deadline to exchange at the contract rates and redeem them, after which the bonds could no longer be redeemed unless you had made special arrangements prior. Short history. Sun. Feb. 16. China and several other nations informed the U.S. Corp that they would not trade with the U.S. because of the fiat U.S. dollar. On Mon. The 16th of March, President Trump released a 15-day guideline to slow the coronavirus spread. That ended on Wed. The 1st of April, not so coincidentally the very day as the general public was scheduled to begin exchanging currencies at the new international rates. On Tuesday, March 17th, the CIA sent a memo saying that all financial movement must stop for the reset. On that same Tuesday, the 17th of March at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the reset was said to be released and sovereign groups were being paid. Wed. The 18th of March, China and several other nations which had recently refused to accept the fiat U.S. dollar for trade announced that the gold-backed U.S. note was now accepted as the world's main reserve currency. On that same Wed. The 18th of March, the U.S. dollar index, USDX, was above 101 all day, indicating that the stock market had crashed. Last night, Wed. The 18th of March at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, President Trump met with President Xi. They decided to let it go and the global collateral accounts were released. Yesterday, Wed. The 18th of March at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we went to level 4 of martial law. That meant the armed forces were available, reserve military were stationed at a state level to guard against looting of stores that were closed. That would be an added security force for us when we exchanged. As part of martial law and to give banks adequate time to connect to the quantum financial system, all banks were closed for 4 days starting on Friday, the 20th of March. They would reopen on Tuesday, the 24th of March. Yesterday, Wed. The 18th of March, some banks closed early as a way to connect their branches to the system. Tomorrow on Friday, the 20th of March at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the stock market would close until Tuesday, the 24th of March. Wall Street stopped trading on Friday. The 13th of March, it was suspected because of a stock market crash not announced to the public. Wall Street was expected to change their method of business on Mon. The 23rd of March. Is this maybe the end of the stock market? Sources were saying that the release was going to be on Mon. The 23rd of March. I have more and more contacts in Europe and other places that are saying on their Zim swaps that they have already received SKRs that they can see money in their accounts. They are told to expect that release very early next week. I think we are going to see helicopter money coming next week as well. I could be wrong, but we are that close. 1. The Pope has vanished and Queen Elizabeth has gone into hiding. 2. The trigger for these events was a refusal by the Chinese people on February 16, 2020, to pay any further tribute to the ancient satanic bloodline families. This happened when Chinese leaders told the United States corporation they would not ship any more physical stuff unless they are paid with things that actually exist in the real world. In other words, they broke the ancient satanic money magic illusion. 3. The so-called pandemic that ensued was a combination of a biological and electromagnetic warfare retaliatory attack on China. Although the attack apparently caused mass casualties in Wuhan, it failed to intimidate or bow the Chinese people. 4. The extremely long list of celebrities and first ladies, Spain, Canada, all coming out to announce that they allegedly have COVID-19. So many, in fact, it's absolutely ludicrous considering that they never frequent the subway or mingle with the unwashed and the deplorable. The list included over 157 people, which doesn't compute with the true statistics of non-celebrities diagnosed with it. 5. What is really going on is a global slave revolt against ancient satanic bloodline ruling families who are now being systematically hunted down by special forces, according to multiple sources. Already, many of the ancient bloodline families are trying to negotiate surrender terms, P3 and WDS sources say. Old black nobility families are ready to surrender, confirms Vincenzo Mazzara of the P3. The Rothschilds and other families hiding in Switzerland and New Zealand are also negotiating surrender, WDS sources say. 6. Since Prince Andrew is a naval officer who aided Jeffrey Epstein but refused to cooperate with the DOJ, and the Queen was locked out of Windsor Castle, UK royals may be renditioned by the US military since they are also military officers. 7. Italy is apparently under U.S. military protection while the country is under lockdown. Its army chief succumbed to coronavirus infection, and the Vatican needs to be cleansed of gays, Satanists, and pedophiles. 8. Anti-family, anti-Christian Hollywood is under assault as Disney theme parks and movie theaters close, and film productions shut down. Tom Hanks and his wife got infected with the coronavirus, Nicole Kidman moves back down under, and Steven Spielberg may be exposed for his crimes with children. 9. CIA, this morning at 4:30 a.m., Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was served a criminal indictment by the U.S. for corporate and financial crimes. Media owners were instructed to brainwash everyone that Trudeau and his wife are infected with the coronavirus and they won't be leaving their house for a while. 10. Tom Hanks was arrested 48 hours ago for pedophilia and he is currently being held in a hotel room in Australia, unwilling to fly back to the USA. The next celebrity arrests will be Celine Dion, Madonna, Charles Barkley, and Kevin Spacey. All will claim coronavirus infections. 11. Italy's airports have been completely shut down, as over 80 Vatican and financial officials have been served the same criminal indictments for financial crimes, pedophilia, child trafficking, and sexual abuse. 12. The United Arab Emirates have completed mass arrests of their own royal family and affiliates. 13. Convicted Hollywood rapist Harvey Weinstein agreed to a deal in exchange for his testimony against hundreds of top Hollywood celebrities for their involvement in the drug business, pedophilia, and child trafficking. Instead of a 55-year sentence, he only received a 23-year sentence. In exchange, he provided testimony against some of the biggest and most powerful names, including Prince Andrew of the UK, former President Bill Clinton, former Vice President Joe Biden, Tom Hanks, Oprah, Ellen DeGeneres, Quentin Tarantino, Charlie Sheen, Bob Saget, Kevin Spacey, John Travolta, Steven Spielberg, John Podesta, NXIVM and PIZZAGATE, sex trafficking clubs, and hundreds more who all were directly involved with Jeffrey Epstein. 14. Jeffrey Epstein was similarly allowed to make a deal and have his suicide in prison faked in exchange for his testimony. 15. CEOs of some major world corporations have been indicted or arrested, and some have been forced to resign, all in the last 30 to 60 days, such as the CEOs of the NBA, Harley-Davidson, the Bill Gates Foundation, Intel, McDonald's, Cesar Awards, Disney, and the Vatican Chief of Police, among others. Approximately 700 to 800 more resignations are coming in the next 3 months. 16. The lab-engineered, novel coronavirus is the cover story for a mandatory vaccination agenda. Now it has become the biggest covert U.S. intelligence operation the world has ever seen. This massive 158,000 arrests operation will capture and remove the biggest evil and corrupt politicians, celebrities, and CEOs, including global elites and bankers such as George Soros, UN officials, and the founders of Greta Inc. 17. Some top religious leaders will be arrested or forced to resign, and some will suddenly get sick. The Vatican will be the first, and the Pope will be removed in 2020. The distribution of extracted human adrenochrome will be revealed, and Hollywood and the Vatican will be exposed as being directly responsible. 18. There will be a 2-month complete shutdown of the world's most common operations, such as schools, the stock exchange, some banks, airports, shipping, travel, events, galas, expos, sport games, sport championships, music awards ceremonies, NBA, NHL, baseball games, and ship cruises. There will be food shortages and staged electricity power loss. Gas prices will go down, food costs will go up, insurance will go up, gold and silver stocks will fall, and many corporations will either go bankrupt or take a significant financial loss, such as in the case of what's about to happen to Air Canada, Disney, and Coca-Cola. 19. Nancy Pelosi died within the last 24 hours. The coronavirus will most likely be reported as the cause of death when the public announcement is made. 20. Steven Mnuchin will be removed very soon. He is an agent of the Khazarian cabal. The time has come to cut him loose as he knows too much about their inside dealings, including thefts from the U.S. Treasury. Will he succumb to the coronavirus? E. Dark money progressive groups spending millions to politicize coronavirus, spread fear, Hannah Blow. F. International child sex trafficking. Judy note the below article by Australian CIA child mind control victim Fiona Barnett is one of the best documented I have seen and a must-read for anyone interested in how the cabal has ingrained the satanic ritual abuse of children in our political elites and society. Michael Aquino is the most notorious perpetrator of CIA child trafficking in modern history. He has been implicated in every major scandal concerning organized CIA child trafficking to VIPs, including McMartin Preschool, Presidio, and the Franklin scandal. All of these cases involved the CIA training children to perform as prostitutes and worse, using military brainwashing techniques including unethical hypnosis, drugs, and electric shock. Jeffrey Epstein's Mossad fraud and satanic temple where the world's elite tortured children. Cabal's drug of choice, child adrenochrome, Shad Olson. A naturally occurring human endocrine secretion is becoming a focal point of attention of people awakening to the broadening Jeffrey Epstein scandal and its connotations for the reality of the greatest evil in our times, child sex trafficking, ritualized sex abuse of children, and child sacrifice. A rare substance called adrenochrome had near miraculous scientifically tested regenerative abilities in rejuvenation of human tissue, restoration of nerve responsivity, and cognitive function. Adrenochrome holds near-mythic status as the Calistoga, fountain of youth, immortality substance for the global elite. The unholy grail of the Luciferian pedophile cultists who rule and reign in our midst. Adrenochrome harvest and acquisition is the why of everything else in the emerging and pernicious realm of unspeakable acts of child sex trafficking, abduction, abuse, exploitation, and even child sacrifice by the world elite. Adrenochrome is the powerful hormonal precursor for adrenaline secreted by the body in large amounts in moments of intense fear, anger, or perceived life-threatening danger. Its purpose, as determined by scientists, is both to optimize the adrenaline response of muscles and nerves of the body while also protecting bodily tissues and organs from the rigors of adrenaline rush, acting as both buffer and optimizer to accelerate the adrenalized flight or fight mechanism of human fear response in survival situations. Think of it as a fuel additive for the souped-up, funny car launch of human survival instinct when confronted by life-threatening physical danger or terror. And there's nothing like it on Earth. Practitioners of mass-dosing adrenochrome therapy quickly learned that children were the best extraction source for the highest potency adrenochrome and that juvenile adrenochrome was chemically balanced in ways that reduced the horrific side effects of the adult version. Superior product. The younger the better. But just how to get children to produce and secrete the most massive concentrations of adrenochrome into their system prior to extraction? The answer to that question is a decades-long worldwide nightmare of psychosexual exploitation that is gripping the planet, driven by adrenochrome frenzy among the world elite, always frantically working to avoid the ravages of adrenochrome withdrawal. In a fusion of psycho-spiritual and scientific incantation, the global elite have perfected the use of extreme sexual torture, satanically ritualized sodomy, and violent rape of children in nightmarish demon god sex rituals specifically designed to create maximum terror in a child's body, to overload their blood with adrenochrome prior to extraction and consumption in their bloody rite of immortality. Samoan chief guilty of human trafficking. G. Mass arrests were being kept quiet. There were over 160,000 sealed indictments filed in U.S. federal courts across the nation against global and political elites, with over 1,613 acted upon and upwards of 500,000 arrests made worldwide. Arrests of political elites connected to indictments over FISA abuse have begun and were expected to continue over the next 2 weeks. There were now 37,000 more U.S. troops in Europe on top of the 320,000 troops already there who were suspected of engaging in arrests of deep state assets in Switzerland, Brussels, Antwerp, Berlin, Paris, Amsterdam, and London. Since Friday, the 6th of March, there has been 2,200 or more arrests of global elites and in the cartels worldwide, over 600 of whom were drug, gun, and human traffickers arrested in Mexico. The deep state has been operating a $150 billion year child sex trafficking network centered at the Vatican, where over 80, including 66 priests, were arrested by Interpol last week for financial crimes, pedophilia, child trafficking, and sex abuse. Kevin Annet's been hard at work. The dark sins of the Vatican. Gitmo was upgraded years ago for high-profile arrests, while prison barges awaited in the harbor. A military tribunal on the crimes of 9/11 began there in Jan. 2019. The U.S. military was building a massive concentration camp able to hold up to 10,000 people in international waters off the coast of Alaska just below the North Pole named Ice Camp Sea Dragon. An hour or so prior to liquidity release, Wells Fargo and HSBC banks would send out over 400,000 emails to currency and bondholders, along with instructions on how to exchange and redeem. That information would also be available on certain websites as below. Each country had their own 800 hash or website code for use of currency exchangers, bond redeemers that would be sent out by email or found on those websites. Clicking on that link on your computer or phone would create your own unique signature to receive an exchange redemption appointment, along with exchange redemption information. On appointments, if there were travel restrictions in your area, you could obtain a travel document from a certain website made known with release of the 800 hash S. The Tier 4B Internet Group has the opportunity to exchange foreign currencies, redeem ZIM bonds at higher contract rates prior to release to the public by Tuesday, the 31st of March. On WED, the 1st of April, currencies would exchange at international rates as shown on the Forex, and ZIM bonds could no longer be redeemed unless prior arrangements had been made. Special redemption centers have been set up across the globe to exchange at contract rates from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. At your 20-minute exchange appointment, you would watch an instruction video while they did a background check to flag felons convicted of serious crimes such as drugs and trafficking in order to screen out cabal criminals from exchanging. If you don't have a trust account for your exchange redemption, a Treasury Direct account would be set up at your exchange for your funds. You would have 90 days to set up and transfer those monies into your own trust account. Abbott Downing Wealth Managers would be represented at each redemption center, though you could choose another wealth management company if you wished. The ZIM was a bond, not a currency, and redemption monies from that bond were designated for humanitarian needs. A ZIM bond rate of 11 cents would be offered with no zeros taken off, or if you had a lot it could go down to 3 cents, 5 cents. They would present you with currency rates, which were said to be very generous. Non-ZIM holders could ask for the contract rates. If you did not agree those should be your rates, you could negotiate more at your second appointment that would be set for within 24 to 48 hours. Whether you held currencies or ZIM, in order to receive the higher contract rates, you were encouraged to have a specific humanitarian project typed up in a summary of 1 to 2 pages that showed approximate costs, time frame of your project, the 10th of May 20 years, how many people you could employ, in your background as to what qualified you to do the project. It was my understanding that if you partnered with other humanitarian projects, including CARTS, that connection would not necessarily qualify you for the higher rates unless you had your own humanitarian project to present at your redemption exchange appointment. Seniors age 60 and above had their choice of being paid out or not being paid out their ZIM redemption monies in a structured annuity investment payout. All other ZIM redeemers would be paid in your choice of quarterly or annually, in a structured annuity investment payout with your choice of 5, 10, 15, 20, or if you asked, 50 or 100 years. Nonprofits dedicated to help exploited, abused children and adult abuse survivors. Tim Ballard, the Underground Railroad rescued exploited children. Kevin Annett, International Tribunal into Crimes of Church and State, ITCCS, rescued exploited children and exposed their rape, torture and murder kidnapping rings run by the Vatican. Felicity Lee Ivory Garden, promoted healing techniques for DID survivors. Neil Bricksmart published information on the satanic ritual abuse of children and gave healing seminars for ritual abuse survivors and therapists. Enough is Enough. Enough is Enough is a national bipartisan nonprofit organization who has led the fight to make the internet safer for children and families since 1994. EIE's efforts were focused on combating internet pornography, child pornography, sexual predation, sex trafficking and cyberbullying by incorporating a three-pronged prevention strategy with shared responsibilities between the public, corporate America and the legal community. SNAP Survivors Network of those abused by priests. J. 22 Faces, Inside the Extraordinary Life of Jenny Hill and Her 22 Multiple Personalities, Judy Byington. From infancy to age 6, Jenny was repeatedly raped and tortured by members of a satanic coven, the trauma forcing her developing brain to split into multiple thinking patterns. Her sophisticated Nazi-inspired mind control programming was overseen by a CIA agent called Drive Green, who was said directed by the International Monetary System's Ninth Circle child sacrifice cult. The Ninth Circle was believed composed of members of U.S. Inc., European royals including Queen Elizabeth, the Vatican including Pope Francis, private bankers such as the Rothschilds and Rockefellers, plus central bankers, the very cabal that the World Court, Interpol, BRICS Alliance, Trump and White Hats were attempting to take down with the global currency reset. Divide they try, fail they will. WWG1WGA to support POTUS, follow Q Trust Plan. Let us thank Q that the reset has finally come to be. I wish you well in your humanitarian efforts and look forward to seeing you on the other side, where together, we will make life better for all. Patience is a virtue. Having virtue is a sign of a good moral being. Good moral beings have the power to overcome evil and change the world.
So, thank you so much for listening, guys. And I will give you updates sa TBC later on the next video, okay? So have a nice day. Bye.